Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again. On to the next stage of the Challenger 2 project. I'm very pleased to see you here. We pretty much completed the lower hull with the exception of placing the wheels on and making the tracks. So we're going to use the expression make tracks today, amongst other things, but we're going to put these mud guards on here, which go onto the rear side here. Just a quick look at the wheels, which there isn't much to see, quite honestly. You know, they're on little clips ready to be painted, it's just a repetitive process to put them on. So let's get straight on. There's two components here which I'm going to caution you on one of them. So I'm going to show you these two up close. As you take these off the sprue, hopefully you can see this okay. Let's just move my light here. As you take these off the sprue connection nibs, I think, are here and here. Yeah, there's one there and then there's one there, in that little section there. Don't mistake, so one there and then one there. Don't mistake these tabs here for sprue nibs. They're not. I did here, as you can see. They don't look the same anymore. Hopefully it'll melt away once I put the other corner on, which goes in essentially like that, and it won't look quite so obvious that I've made a bit of a mistake there. But I got a bit mad with the file, so you know, we'll see what happens anyway. As you can see, again, we'll go in close again so that you can see this. These two sections simply slip together. There's a keyway, and they fit together very nicely, so that you almost can't see the joint. So what I'm going to do is use some quick setting cement and essentially put them together, and I'll glue it from the inside, and hopefully things wick through nicely and I don't get my fingers trapped on the seam line there when I'm bonding them up. So I'll do that for both sides. Then we can see if my little error of earlier on is, I'm not on camera. There we are. I am now. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody in modelling land. I get cursed for this, I don't doubt it. Let's go out a bit. That's probably going to make things a lot easier, isn't it? I get cursed for it, I know. I'm just going to have a quick look at that. Yeah, that's... See, that seam line just all but disappears. Let's see how close I can get in with this so that you can see that. There's almost no seam line at all. It's quite incredible, really. It's a really super piece of fitting in terms of the plastic itself. So I can do the same with this one, and the same thing will happen. So let's flip that over, bit of glue on there, and I can get that in. Bit of quick setting, and there we go. That's virtually in. That's not quite got that right there. Let's just wick that in there. That's better. That's what we want. And you see some of the glues, just looking at closely at that, some of that glue's just glistening through there, so I'm going to have to be careful and leave that to dry. So what I'll do is I'll just put that away off camera so that it's not leaning on that for a minute, and I'll come back to those in a second. I'll do them a little bit later on, give the glue a chance to harden off, and they go in on this, in this section here and in there. I wonder if we can just demonstrate fit one of these. Just like, ooh, just like that. How does that? Yeah, that just fits where it touches. And it don't touch in many places. Probably bond that in, actually. I would think actually might be an idea to bond that in right now. Can I hold that in and get that to stay there while I bond and glue it in? Let's give it a try. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, there we go. It is good quick setting, I have to say. Have a quick look in there. Yeah, that looks okay. And so these are going to have to be painted differently. That's a rubber section there, and that's, I think, a metal section. So that's going to take some work when it comes down to it. Just attach that there. Just going to hold on to that for with a nail for a minute, and then we don't get any. So a quick look at that with a sprocket wheel. Oh, there's enough clearance for us to get that in there. That's okay. So let's do the other one quickly. I'm not wasting too much time here in getting these fitted. Get some glue in there. Right, I'm going to just use that little trick again of going up in here and then gluing in there, because that's slightly opened out to beyond 90 degrees. Not what we, oh no, I've just ballsed that up completely. I've finger marked that. That's not what we wanted at all. Yeah, see, I've got a finger mark in there that I'm going to have to guiltily confess that, aren't I? You can see that there. See how the light shines on it. How easily these things are done. How easily they are done. Never mind, never mind. I think we're about there with that. I'm going to have to leave that to settle now. So what we'll do is we'll leave that to settle off camera, and hopefully that will be okay as it comes to it. So the next challenge is the tracks. Now, as I indicated before, the tracks have jigs that you use to make, and there are 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, because there are 4 sprues of track sections. So I'm going to just explain that briefly, and we'll go in close and show you what we're going to have to do here. So there are 3 track sections that we have here. There's this, which I'm going to call the shoe, and I call it the shoe because it's the bit that touches the ground essentially. And then we have the link, and then finally the bit that sits on the wheel, which I'm going to call the saddle. So the shoe is not handed that I can see, so it can be put into the jig any way you like. Just drop them in and lay them onto the jig like that. I'm going to leave that one empty for reasons that will become apparent in a minute. So we lay them onto the jig, and there are 32 sections to this in total. And what I want to do is to fill them all up with shoes, 32 shoes. It's not quite a centipede, but there we are. And then we can go to the next bit, and I'll explain a little bit about something to look out for there, so that you get the best effect whilst taking advantage of the moulding that you have on the link, and avoiding an uneven look. As you can see, I'm being ham-fisted today. I would use tweezers all the time, but it just takes ages, so it's not the best idea. And I like you to look at these videos. Just one quick thank you for people who are subscribing. I think I may have said this before, but I kind of feel that subscribing to someone is the best way of saying what you're doing is interesting and good, and more people seem to be telling me this, and I'm very grateful to you all, because what it does is spur me on to try and create more videos, more content, but to make it better and to try and improve things, you know, in every way I can. So try and have less that's off camera. Try just zeroing out, because then you can see more of what's going on here, and trying to improve my my working practices under camera, and again trying to give you, you know, good quality tips about the kits. These are pretty straightforward things that I'm saying, and many of you out in modelling land will know these things already, and you know, your experience with armour building, so you know the sort of pitfalls to avoid, and so on. I'm still pretty new to this, again, having come back into scale modelling relatively recently, compared to some, and I'm therefore you know, going through these, and you're discovering these things with me. So we got the shoes in. There are 31 into the jig now, so I want to look at the link now, because the link lays on the top. So what you'll find is that the link itself is handed and sided. So let's look at the sides to start with. Now you can see, to start with, straight away, let's get my little poker out, that there are some holes in the links. So I believe the holes are there to allow the pins on the track to be inserted from the end. So when you build a track up in real life, you insert a pin through a link panel like that, and it goes through 1, 2, 3 links. So on this side you can see that there are some holes there, and on this side they're more, if you like, blank. So my suggestion, and what I'm going to try and achieve, is to have those hold links on the outside of the track section at all times. It means that one has to pay a bit of attention to that, but what I've tried to do is to achieve that in this particular case. Let's see if I can show you that. There you go, you can see that like that. So I can lay this track down on one side of the tank with the holes outermost, and then I can lay down this second section on the outside on the other side, so that the holes are outermost. So what we have to do is to pay a little bit of attention to that sidedness, and for the purposes of this I'm just going to try and make all the holes face inwards like that. The other thing to note is that one side of this is quite plain. Again, you can probably see that, and then if I flip that over, the other side has nodules here, here and here. So do this left-handed this time. Here, here and here, you can see those 3 nodules. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those nodules face down. So I've got to think about 2 things: to have the nodules facing down and the holes facing down as well. So down that way and down that way. So let's get on with doing this. And it's relatively straightforward. You need a bit of a steady hand, but one can get these things to drop more or less straight in, and you can build up a track section. and away we go. So we'll see how much time there is. I'm not going to do a exceptionally long video today about this because it's pretty repetitive stuff, and like the Cornish ogre of Oscar Wilde's writing, my conversation is quite limited. So after I have said all that I have to say, I may have to then depart. Oh dear, look at that. That's not good. Okay, need to put that back in the right way. But I just want to put the saddles on at least a few of these, shall we say, so that you can see how this all slips together. And at least that way you've got an idea about this. So again, if there are any pitfalls that you observe that I haven't, you're a bit more experienced, and probably more experienced than I. So just keep going through this. I'm being bloody ham-fisted today. As quick smart as I can. I hope you all enjoyed the little 2-minute short that I did, or 1 minute short that I did, of that bit of components skittering across the room. That was a little unexpected, I'm going to say. That was the I think that was the idler wheel support and spindle that I was making there. They've gone on without a hitch, by the way, so that's all good. So oh yes, okay, I'm going to have to put this one in. I'm going to put that aside. You're limited with these particular links here. God damn it. Because, well, I don't know why, it's just because of the moulding, I think, but there appear to be more shoes and saddles than there are links. So I'm going to try not to break very many. I have noticed 1 or 2 slight moulding defects in the links. But not serious. It's nothing to get one's panties in a bundle about, let's put it like that. And in terms of sprue nibs, there is a rather long and boring task to be done when you de-sprue these particular components, in the sense that all the sprue nibs have to be filed off, and indeed cut off this one. But again, it's just long and repetitive. I haven't done that on camera because I'm sure you've probably seen that done a million times before, and doesn't seem fair really to bore you to death with that. So I'll go to the end of this. Look, here's a thing. If you're totally bored with this, just fast through till I get to the saddles, fast forward through it, and I'll keep going here. But if you fast forward through it, of course, you'll never know whether I was speaking or not, will you? Because I could have done the rest of these in complete silence and you'll never know about it. But there we are. That'll just have to be something you will forever wonder about. What are we doing here? There we go. Keep going, not far to go yet. And once we're there, I can start to put those saddles in. Only 2 left. There we go. Now, there's another thing to remember about this. There's 3 left actually. Is at this end and this end, always remember to put a link in. If you don't, then you'll have a problem linking the track sections together. And whilst it's not an insurmountable problem, it potentially could be a tad on the awkward side. So it's as well to to be aware. So with relation to this, now I can't move this very easily now, so you're going to have to put your squinty eyes on. I'm just going to move the camera a bit so that this is in at central to this, so that you can see it. So as you can see, there's a couple of wells here and here. And there are also on the saddle a couple of sets of pins here, here, and here, and here. Those pins fit into those wells, and all one does is very simply I attach my in fact, actually I'm going to do it this way, do it right-handed. Just take the let's come back out again and centralize that back up and recompose. There we go. So take the brush out, give it a brush off, quick setting in the two wells, and very carefully place the saddle onto the two links, and then hold it down for 4 or 5 seconds and then lift it away. If you use your finger, what I've discovered is take your finger away and then take the tweezers away, and it's the same again on this side. You know, just keep going until you've made a whole track section. And what you'll find is, provided you don't use excessive amounts of glue, and one does have to be fairly gentle with this, once it's all done from one side to the other and you've got all your links in, you can just lift the tracks away from the jig, and you'll find that it's all flexible. You know, there's no over bonding or anything like that, and it all looks great. And there are no seam lines, nothing to really worry about there. It's kind of just put it together and ready it for painting. So there are 79 links on each track side, on the left and the right side. So you do 32, 32, and then 15, but it's sort of 32, 31, and then 14, because you want the links on either side to come into place together, so that you don't end up with sort of 80 or 81 links. And the other reason I'm sort of suggesting go less on the, oh bugger, did I say bugger then? Sorry about that. Go less on the links, because if you count wrong, and I have done this a couple of times, so it's not like, you know, it's not possible to do. It certainly is. If you're too few in terms of links, that's okay. If you're too many, because you've used glue, well, that might not be quite such a good idea. So there we go. So 23 minutes in, I'm going to make the rest of these, and I'm going to call it a day there for this particular video for today. And then after all this is done, it's going to be a question of it's going to be painting, priming, painting the other side, the wheels, the tracks, and so on. I think the painting and priming of that will take a little time, and then we're into the upper body of the tank. So we're sort of halfway through it then, really. And this has got to rank, I suspect, as one of the quicker builds that I've probably done in the last 40 years. Probably lucky you, really. This would get very boring if I was to do it at the same sort of speed as I've done all my other builds. So look, thanks very much indeed for liking, subscribing, coming to visit. Appreciate it very much, and hope to catch up with you another time. Thanks very much. Bye for now.